Hey there, boys and girls of the YouTube world. Today we're going to see if we can't get a 1960 Chevy Impala running. It's been off the road since 1979, so odds are pretty good it's going to fire right up. So this is a 1960 Chevy Impala, 4-door hardtop. They call them a flat top for that reason. Got this little overhang back here too, kind of neat. Impala's got the 3 tail lights. It's got the tow package. She's been off the road since '79. A little mossy from sitting in the trees. The floor's got enough room for several bodies. Looks like we got a couple of spare tires because she's a real powerhouse. Tech tip of the day: get yourself a car with a hitch, and then you put a bolt sticking out the bottom, and then you cut a hole in the forks of your skid steer. Thanks for easy movement. It's got the Elf from Guelph shorty antenna option. Floors are there. A little soft. Door's shut nice. That trim is janked up. Typical 60 rust in the eyebrows, both sides. I don't know if those mirrors are factory or not. I'm not really up on these cars that much. Looks like they went to the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks in '67, '68. Spark plug sitting on the dash. Wonder why they took those out. Hopefully they're just spares and they're in the engine and this isn't locked up. That floor, not so solid. Looks like a hole there. Thought it was an automatic car, Powerglide, which I think it was. But then I saw the shifter. And so yeah, it's got the big wide automatic pedal. And I think somebody added a clutch and a 3-ish speed later. I wonder if they ever finished the conversion, because, oh yeah, maybe they did. I think they had some shifting issues because it doesn't roll over. Oh man! She's an overdrive even, dang! Who is this president? John Deere since 1937, quality farm equipment. He gave to the world the steel plow. He looks a lot like Abe Lincoln. Factory straight line tuning. AM radio, got a factory clock, that's an option, I know. What other kind of good stuff is in here? Cigarette butt. I have no idea what that is, a sock? Hey, there's the rest of the antenna. Duff, let's get right up in there. What is, ooh, registrations. That's 1977. Oh, 1980. So maybe she was run into the 80s. He took her to Mortske Repair in New Rockford for soldering the radiator for $9.50. State of North Dakota, temporary registration in 1968. Well, James, he ran her for a few years, 12 by my count. 72, David Nilsson. Maybe the whole Nilsson family ran this thing. Well, David had her for a while in 69, 67. Anything else good in there, Duff? Huh? Oh, look at that! Greenbelt, the friendly beer. Yeah, from Perfect Brewing Water. That is sweet. Diamond clear, smoother beer. What else is in there? More registration cards. 66. What year is this? 1960 registration cards. That's the original buyer. Rolf Sund. 1960. May 19th. How neat is that? 63. 66, he still had her. 62 registration card. 65. 64. 61. If you don't count the guys that I got it from, which was basically a salvage yard, the one guys were family members, I guess I'd be the third-ish owner. Or or fifth if you want to count all those people in between. See if we can light her off. Let's hope the spark plug thing doesn't come up to bite us. There she is, the big 283. No power. Oh, it does have power steering. Dang! Ram assist power steering. No power brakes. I thought the power steering ran off the back of the generators. Maybe that was only on 348 cars. Hey, the spark plugs are in it. Good deal. Let's see. Is it gonna turn over? It's got a block heater. Added on to the heater hose. That's the good one. Dipstick. There it is. Let's just say that that was freshly changed when they park it, for sure. It's got a Rochester tube barrel. And does it turn over? The $1 million question. Oh. Hey! She's turning. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh, look at that. Battery hold down, just wire. Just kind of loop her over the corner there. Real good. No smoke coming out. Also good. Let's see if it turns over by the key. I'm only gonna test for spark by myself. Oh, the fuel line's unhooked. That's why it doesn't run. Let's fish that back behind there. That way, when it does run, because it just melts my wire off. Napatod, it'll look so bright. We gotta get this running, we're gonna lose this shop, come on. All for cheese and rice. Perfect. So we got a spark. I'd say there's about 1/8% of a chance that we got spark, but let's give her a whirl. That wiper motor, that's gotta be a good ground. No spark. Just flicking the points there, see if we can't get them cleaned up a bit. Let's get some sandpaper and clean those points up a bit. Okay, keys on, spark. We got spark. So what the frick? What the frick? Well, I think we gotta hook up a boat tank. Duffy, get the boat tank. Cheese and rice. Not bad, considering it hasn't run since 1980. That's awesome. That's so much awesomeness. Well, let's see if she'll drive now. Awesome! Let's give the old 60 a cold start. It's a balmy 18 degrees Fahrenheit here this morning. Move the battery, set on top of the windshield because it's a lot safer wedged between the windshield and the hood than it was just laying on the fender. That may or may not have fallen out when we backed it out the other night. Anywho, let's flip our choke on. Hook up our fuel pump. I got some new clamps. They're real good. They're insulated. Let's see what happens. Pops right out, runs like a champ. Sticker inside. We gotta get some brakes. It appears the 283 and the 1960 runs way better than pretty much anything I own. I'm gonna start driving it to work. So let's move the boat tank inside. Maybe check the coolant. Who knows, we might get crazy and change the oil. Oh, brakes. Let's address that. I'm sure they just need fluid after sitting for 40 years, right, Duff? Ugh. Oh yeah, empty. We'll just put some fluid in there. Hopefully they're self-healing. It's got a manual. We don't need those. You gotta get that boat tank moved inside though so we can close the hood. Not lose that at a high rate of speed. And I'm guessing the fuel pump's shot, so we're just gonna keep using the electric pump that I got here. We need to find power. Let's turn on the key. See what we can find for power. I'm guessing the wire at the coil is gonna have like 9 volts. Or 6. That's a ground. Ground. So you got marker lamps? I wonder if we just unhook the wire from the marker lamp. Oh, yeah, well, looks like the mice already unhooked that wire. We don't need to go through the wing window. We got a gaping shifter hole through the floor, don't we, Duff? Now we're talking. Got ourselves a fresh roll of 5/16 fuel hose. We're gonna do it up right. Did our line come through? Way down there. Why does that happen? Alright. Fuel line run. And close that wing window so the snow don't get in there. So I got my fuel line run up here from the fuel tank through the gaping shifter hole. Fuel tank sitting on the floor in the passenger seat. I think I'm going to put the fuel pump inside because I really love the hum of an electric fuel pump. It's my favorite. No, I hate it. And then that way I can just run the wires to the fuse panel in the car and I can hear if it's running or not. And also, then the fuel pump isn't pulling the fuel, it's pushing it. Because they're designed to push, not pull. Tech tip of the day. So, let's get after that. Then we gotta find somewhere to hook the wires up in the car. But there should be more options in the fuse panel in there than we've got out here. Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you up. You like this one? You all settled in? All right. Let's see what we can find in the fuse panel. Well, hey, look, the interior lamps work. So it appears the fuse in the panel for the backup lights doesn't have a fuse in it, and it's also got switch power. So what I'm going to do is slide the old crack pipe glass fuse in there, and I'm going to even hook the power wire up on the fuse side. So provided the backup lamps aren't causing this to blow, we should have a fuse circuit. We're really stepping up our game here, aren't we, Duff? So what I'm going to do is take the glass fuse and just cram her right in there with the wire on the end of it. All right, got power on the opposite side of the fuse. Now we just gotta hook up our ground, do a little plumbing. Hook that up to the end of the tank, Duff. Let's get over here and let's cuddle up real good. Yes, you are the best shop dog ever. Yeah, block the camera. Ground's kind of hooked up. Power's kind of hooked up. Let's turn the key on. See what happens. Good to go, Duff. If you wanted to get real crazy, you could even put a couple screws into the floorboard to hold that fuel pump. Should we adjust some brakes? And by adjust, I mean get them working. You're busy giving yourself a manicure. All right, I got it. Don't you worry. You just hang out here. What are the odds we just dump some brake fluid in and pump them a few times and they magically work? Pretty good. What should we do with this thing if we get it running? You guys tell me, comment down below. Should we put an LS in it? Vintage air? Bag it? Put some 20s on it? 26s? Just leave it as is. Find some stock wheels and hubcaps. Complete restow. Let's just take her down to Barrett Jackson. See if I can't double my money. Let me give her a few pumps, see what happens. They go right to the floor now. So. And nothing. I guess we better jack it up and bleed them. Hopefully they fix themselves. Oh. Well, that hose isn't even hooked up to the wheel, so that's going to be a problem. I guess we'll start there. Are you going to try to twist off? Nope. There's our culprit. Here's the old broken hose and end. Just happen to have one on the shelf. We're going to reuse that copper washer though. All right, we got our new used brake hose on. Let's give her a whirl again. Duff, you still napping in here? Still not getting any brakes, of course. Floor's all wet from the snow, so I can't tell where leaks are at. Since I'm not getting much pedal feel, I think we're gonna have to pull all the wheels off, bleed them. Then we'll really find some leaks when we get some pressure in there, maybe the master's shot. Let's find out. Usually I like to start with the furthest wheel away from the master cylinder, which in most applications is the right rear. When I'm bleeding, so that's the furthest distance that fluid's got to travel. Let's take our bleeder out here and see how bad a shape it's in. Sometimes they're all plugged up with crud and then you can't push fluid or air in or out of it, so you clean them up. Well, I can blow through it, so fluid should go through it. So typically the best way I've found to bleed brakes by yourself is go to your local vet supply, get yourself a syringe like this, put a little chunk of vacuum hose on the end, and you slide that onto the bleeder, crack the bleeder open, and then force fluid up to the master cylinder. That way it pushes all the air to the top. And then once you get that fluid pushed out, then you close the bleeder. Good to go, hopefully. Oh, or you spray yourself in the face with it. Oh yeah. Let's tighten that back up. And do the same thing on all the other wheels. Sometimes it's probably good to do it twice on each wheel, but we'll do them all once, push the pedal, see where we're at. After you go to the rear, you go to the right front. Odds are it's a different size socket. Hey, it's a 3/8 as well. These little bleeder screws snap off real easy. Oh, there it went. And then last, you do the left front, because that's got the shortest distance for the fluid to travel to the master cylinder. This one's full of brake fluid, and that stuff doesn't taste good, so I'm going to use compressed air to clean this one out. Good as new. If we were doing this the right way, we'd buy new wheel cylinders, hoses, and a master cylinder. Tie rod end's missing the boot. We don't need that. I'm sure there's plenty of grease in there. Now that we got all these brakes Mortske bled, and that don't turn no more. Let's go hit the pedal, see what happens. By golly, the brake pedal doesn't feel too bad. Just throw the wheels on, maybe go for a rip. Nice part about these wheels, when they lock up like this, and the snow on the ground, you just tend to get stuck. Well, we got this thing up in the air. Let's take a look at the bottom side. See what we got. The blue cloud here. Look at this custom hitch. I think that's actually a kit of sorts. They work real good for cut a hole in your skid steer forks. Put that on the bottom, shove them around. Fuel tank's got a little whammy in there. Frame rails, real good. Floors, a little bit of rot there. Ooh. Ooh. Quarter panel's pretty rotten. That floor support's rotten. Couple of whammies in the old splash pans. They usually take the brunt of it. There's a couple of holes there. This frame, not rotted through, but she's pretty scaly. Oh yeah. Little scale on this side. Look at those coil over shocks. That one's a little blowed out, but they fixed it on this side with some number 9 wire. The diff is painted red, so it's clearly out of a Corvette of sorts. custom brake line. GM didn't bend them up like that. So wondering why it sat so high. And I thought, those helper springs can't do it. Oh yeah, she's got the blocks, the rubber lift kit installed. So these are X-frame cars. You can see how they're shaped like an X. They come together in the middle. It's a little spine. Drive shaft runs through it. That's where your hanger bearing sits for your drive shaft. They're real fun to replace. Looks like it's got a pinion seal leak of sorts. Glass pack. Looks like that blew out when I backed her out the other night. I was wondering where all the fiberglass come from that was on the floor. Rocker's a little chewy. Floor's got some holes there. That floor pan's got a pretty good whammy in her. Must have went over to approach a bit fast. Yeah, not terrible for a car that's been sitting for 40 years in the field. A little rust in the rockers. Bottoms of the rockers look good. Yeah, a little rot there in that door trim piece. You can see what color it was originally. Kind of a neat baby blue. Bottoms of the doors ain't bad. Floor support's a little chewy. Yep. Oh goodness, that's a lot of chewiness. I think that's where the fiberglass was coming from. Custom number 9 wire exhaust hanger. Quick Dick McDick would be proud of that. Inner rockers soft. This is the floor that, oh yeah, it's gonna be real loud in there because that's our exhaust. And that's about where your left foot sits when you're driving. It's got a sagging off 3-speed. Or 3-speed of some sorts. Oh, it's got the overdrive. Hopefully that's all wired up. That would be nice. Really cruise down the road. Canister style oil filter. Should maybe check the oil in the diff and the transmission while we got it in the air. Nah, we're busy. Not too bad under there. I guess not super dry, but I kind of expected it to be rotten like that. Not bad for a $200 field cart. We're even gonna put some new Havoline conventional antifreeze coolant in. Not just straight water, because like I said earlier, it's 18 degrees out. And it's running right out the bottom. Well, I think we found out why it doesn't have any coolant in it. Looks like the block heater add-on hose kit is spewing fluid all over. So we better address that. Never throw your caps away when you buy new parts. They make good stop leakers. Leak stoppers. Right. There's the one we want. Maybe. We better get a hose clamp for that. Went to our used hose clamp fitting selection. See if we got one that. Yeah, that one's good. Now we better fix the leak at the other end of that one. So for some reason that block heater thingamabobber teed into this 5/8 heater hose, and we can't just unhook it and loop it because the other one's 3/4. So let's just replace that chunk of 5/8 hose instead of dealing with more caps. I don't like caps. Save those hose clamps. These like gold around here. Oh, I suppose we're gonna have to cut that block heater cable. Oh, so thick. At least they didn't even use any number 9 wire to hold it. I'm guessing this was pre-zip tie days. Suppose we could have just replaced that section of hose. That's where our leak was. Looks like the rabbits chewed it off. Mortske tech tip of the day: when you're getting these heater hoses off, put a little slit in them with your carpet knife. And they just come right off instead of prying. It's not such a big deal on these big cast iron fittings, but when you're doing it on a heater core, you don't want to be prying on that brass fitting much. Look at this behemoth of a block heater. It's kind of an inline one, easier to install, fits all applications. This is a Midwest thing only. Maybe not Midwest, northern region thing. Plug this into your 110 outlet in the winter and it warms up your coolant so your car fires up better. Where's our psych? Oh, come on. Get down there. Oh no. How do we get that back out? Got it. Wow, that is a terrible spot to lose tools. 60 Chevy guys probably know this. Pre-cut hose, the right length. Whoa. Son of a biscuit. Yeah, a little bit long. Let's loop it through the OG location. That kind of looks like a leather strap. Yeah, that's a leather strap they use to hold the heater hoses. These were real cowboys. Jim and David. Good dudes. What are the odds that that heater hose is the right length? It's destiny, that's why. No, Destiny was not a stripper that I met when I got this car. I wonder if the strip clubs are open yet. If they are, we should take this. Somebody's got to put those girls through college. Always orientate your hose clamps so that nobody can ever take them off. That's what I like to do. Just to get back at all the people that did it to me. All right, commence with the filling of the coolant. Got any leaks? Perfect. Let's recycle that stuff. Can we see it in the cores? What do you see it in the cores? It's good enough. You're gurgling up there. I can see it in the cores. It's good enough. It's not going to run warm. It's a 283. It's cold out. We'll go for a ride in the Blue Cloud? Cloud Blue? Cloud 9? Oh man, if it was a 59. Cloud 9 would be a great name. Old Blue? No, the Alpha already took that name. The Blue Bomb. Blue Bomb, what do you think about that? I just jumped in it, hit the brakes, pedal goes to the floor, but the second time you hit it, they're there. We got a manual. It'll be good enough. We're gonna get stuck in the snow before we get anywhere to run into anything anyway. Air cleaner, we don't need that. Should throw some gas in that boat tank. We'll go for a ride? Go for a ride? Okay. Let's go. Let's go. We'll scoot over. Duff says we're burning daylight. We gotta test this thing out. Fuel pump's on. Choke. Oh, that cable's stiff. Fuel's got to get up there. For Pete's sake. Smells like fuel. Choke's closed. You gotta drizzle the fuel. A little hot sauce. Well, cheese and rice, Duff. Well, it started this morning so good. This dang car. We got fuel. Let's put a little jumper wire here between the coil and the battery. See if that little extra boosts the voltage. Maybe I screwed something up in the fuse panel when I was messing with it. Now she's gonna light off, right, Duff? The resistor go bad or what, Duff? I know it's flooded out. about that? And it rolls after we hit them. That's good, not froze up. We're gonna have to do something about that headliner.
And the puddles that hits the exhaust and the steam comes in. It's like a sauna in here. It's majestic. This thing's got posi. We gotta get it running better first. Well, we're back on the 60 here. Stuck a new used cap on it, new rotor, new points. Hey, there's my screwdriver that I've been looking for. New plugs. New old stock Champion plugs, new wires. Let's see if it runs any better. Let's see if it runs at all. Drove it out of the shop the other night. Oh, I should have threw those old spark plugs up on the dash with the other old ones. Oh, the seat's still blowed out. Oh, that's right, it's got a choke. Yeah, just wait your turn, let's see if it starts. Lots of pumpage. That's key. Told ya. What are you scared of? So I got a hold of the guy who had this thing from like 1966, pretty much till it was on the road last.
79.
So basically he had it from 66 to 79, so 13 years. He claims that his great uncle bought this car brand new, V8 Powerglide car. They got it 6 years later. He was going to college with it, and so they put a fresh 283 in it. Had 60,000 miles on it, 10,000 miles a year, and then they put the 3-speed overdrive in it. Here's the kicker, 2 kickers. He claims it's got a factory posi in the back, so you know we're gonna need to determine if that's a lie or not. 3 kickers. It's got 244,000 miles because the odometer's working. He says, how many miles are on it? I said 44. He says, that's 244. That explains why she was kind of meandering down the road on us. He's wallered out. And that's why the seat's wallered out too. And then the 3rd kicker, he went to school in the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks in 67, 68. So there's a guy that graduated, played basketball up there that time. You might have heard of him. His name's Phil Jackson. He coached the Bulls and the Lakers to all their championships. I think he's got like 11 championships. I'm not a basketball guy, so I don't know that, but I know who Phil Jackson is. Anyway, he was driving this down the street one night, University in Grand Forks, and Phil Jackson was crossing the road, a little inebriated, and he clipped him with that right front. And I guess Phil's a pretty big dude, so he was worried about his car, but it turns out his sister knew Phil. Long story short, Phil didn't get hurt, didn't hit the car. But factory posi, 244,000 miles, and that front end has kissed Phil Jackson. So let's go rip on it. I remember how much the headliner sucked. Even the clutch pedal feels horrible. Good. Well, nothing too wild, but got them both spinning. Made some smoke right away. Then she started kind of sliding sideways, and I don't want to do that. I might have had some help from the skid steer. I don't know how the brakes are. I don't have a good spot to do a burnout, so I'll have to do. Posi, check. Horsepower, check. White smoke, check. Guess that'll about do it. What should I do with this thing? I got too many projects. I got another 64 Impala that I never drive. It's in a lot nicer shape than this one. So maybe one of you guys wants to own it. I don't know. Maybe you guys could sweet talk me into doing something awesome with it. I do have a title, so that's a plus. That's pretty good for most of the stuff I buy. The thing does rip pretty good. Posi's nice. We might have to save the Posi for the 64. Or it'll just be laying around until my auction sale someday. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Click like down at the bottom. Comment. Let me know what kind of other stuff you want to see me work on. You want me to see me finish a project? You want to see me drag some more garbage home like this, get it running? Remember, doesn't matter how you get it done, as long as you're having fun. Burnouts are always fun. Real fun. Oh yeah, all the rubber's blowing away. Yoo-hoo! Oh yeah. That's a good one, Duff. Sorry about the Elf's tires.